All right, everybody. Hopefully, there will be people shortly. But I am now live. Definitely wouldn't mind having people give me a little bit of a hey and a thumbs up in the live chat window if you get a chance. But I will just say hi in the live chat as well. And as you can see, I've got the live stream right now is of Max. He's sitting there in the bed, chilling for a minute. Well, that's why I'm Frenchy Films, by the way. Max is a French bulldog. He's my shop dog, buddy. Huh. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the camera set in a more visible view here. Now that I've got the stream started. Oh, this thing needs some greasing or something. All right, so you can see if anybody else has said anything yet. No, not yet. I've got a couple viewers, it says. If anybody wants to jump in and say hey, say hey. Of course, Mallory's going to jump in and say hey now. So hopefully, let me get standing here. Oh, I need to raise my camera up just a little bit more, it looks like. So let me raise up my view a little bit higher, so you can see me a little bit better once I'm over there. So, okay. So if I'm, yeah, all right, so looks good. So if anybody is seeing the live content, I would definitely love to have a shout out. I'm going to wait to get started for just a minute until I can confirm that everybody's seeing what's going on. It looks like it's working for me right now. I can see the live stream on my camera here. I don't know how much audio you've got. I would love to hear if the audio sounds good as well. But, and then I will get things going, so. So at any rate, today we're going to be making eyelet boards. I will cover a little bit more about this in detail in a second. But this is the eyelet board material is down here on the floor. Here's my eyelet board material. We'll pull that up in a minute. I've got some printouts that I made of the eyelets that I will be making. Another thing I found was a great tool is having a little bit of spare scrap wood on your board here to catch that. I'll cover that again in a minute as well. The general idea here for the eyelet boards is you need to get a drill bit that's the right size for the eyelets, and I can't remember what size I used, so I'll try and get that really quickly. You drill the holes in the material also. So I've got my eyelets here. I'm trying to remember. It seems like it might have been like an 8, but I don't know. We'll see. No, maybe an 8 is a little big. We'll see. I did this on my last build, and you guys probably saw it, and it came out pretty good. But let's check out the 8th. All right, these Milwaukee are pretty decent bits, but man, they're a nightmare to get out of the container. No, I think an 8th might be right. It's not bigger than the eyelet, but it's bigger than the center part, so I think that's the correct size bit. So I'm going to give that a go on a piece of something and test it in a minute. So anybody else that's joined that can confirm they can hear me and see me? I've got 4 people on, it looks like now. So let's see. All right. If you can hear me, please do let me know in the chat channel. So I will try, this is my first live stream, I will try to talk through what I'm doing, but I'm also going to try and keep an eye on live chat and see what people are saying, what they're asking, see if there's anybody that has any tips also. Maybe I'm doing something a bit more difficult than it needs to be, but we'll kind of see how that works out and go from there. So effectively all fine. Okay, thanks, Batnoff. So effectively, the turret board or an eyelet board, either one is done generally the same way. We're going to get a piece of material, and I've got right here is some fiber board. I think it's FR10 is one of the terms, or G, I can't remember. Anyway, but one of the notes you'll see when I go to cut this stuff, I'm going to do that in a second, I'm going to put on a mask. because this is fiberglass, and if you cut it, little bits of fiber can get into your lungs and really mess with you. So that's one thing I always do, is put on a filter mask before I cut these. So I'm going to quickly switch the screen over now that I know people can hear and they're starting to get some people joining, and show you where I started from on this. So where I started from on this is, let me get to my OBS, hold on. So I have to turn off the main camera for a second here, and we'll go to the ODS boards. All right, so if you guys can see here, this was a PDF that came from the Amp Garage by some of the guys there. Martin Manning, I think, was the one that did it. It's great stuff. But all I did was print these out, and they are set to already be the right size, but I've got the measurements written there as well. I'm effectively then going to tape these onto some of this board after I measure them to the right size, and then I'll bring them up here and we'll drill them out. So I am going to mention this one here that you can see. I'm not actually going to do that one because I ended up getting... these F&T caps here say they should be 220 microfarads at 300 volts. That was to give roughly 600 volts of carrying capacity in the Dumble amp. But I realized that that's actually only 110 microfarads, and if I get a 500 volt cap, it should work fine, which I did. But that 500 volt cap, I've got that. I'll show you. I'm going to switch back really quickly so you can see. This is the 500 volt cap. So it's a much smaller one. And if we look at the size here of this guy, you can comparatively see I definitely don't need that much space. And I did see that the highest voltage we get generally on these is about 400 and something. I think it was 460 or so. So at first power on, before we start drawing current and everything's going, it may spike a little bit closer to 500, but I believe it will be fine. So this is just a BC Vichet, and it's a 150 microfarad, so we'll get a little bit even extra filtering. But it's definitely going to be a slightly different filtering than the normal Dumble. I will be deviating like this a little bit, but maybe somebody's going to tell me I'm insane for that. And then I also got some other caps, so I'll probably have to design this power supply board a little differently to match what I've bought. But otherwise, since I'm not doing that one, I will be leaving that one aside, but I am going to do the rest. So everything else will be the same, and I've cut these out like this, and then we'll be ended up cutting these types of boards and taping them on, and then I can start drilling them. So we'll go through that whole process, and then we'll finally end with the final part is I'll be doing staking, and we'll show you how the staking works. This is kind of my staking jig. It sits on the bottom. I drop the eyelet on top of that. I'll try and come a little bit closer, and at each stage I'll show you more of that. But I come in close like this, and I stake it down by pushing downward on it from the top with one of these types of, I think it was, which one's the one I've been using? This one. So I put this up, I chuck this in my drill bit, and it comes down from the top, and it flanges out that part and makes it nice and tight. So we will get to each of those parts, but I thought I'd talk through it really quickly first. So let me just check something here. All right, thanks, Christoph. That also is good second feedback. All right, so the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to get these measured out quickly. For the sizes that I need for these different boards and cut those. All of these boards I'm going to be doing. There's 4 different boards here. So what I will do is take a quick second to start doing that, and we'll go from there. So let's set these up here for a minute. Gotta give myself a little room. Sorry, I gotta get this stuff out of my way. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I've got a couple of clamps that will help me kind of hold this still while I'm cutting it. And as I recall, cutting this is a little tricky because it does want to kind of wiggle a lot. See how flexible it is? So I had to kind of, as I recall, hold it pretty tightly with my hand. But and I will also apologize ahead of time. I might try and see if I can kind of lower the volume when I go to use this the table saw. The drill I noticed was not clipping the audio, but the jigsaw was. So I'll first measure out all of these that I need. Let's see, what's the biggest of these small ones? Probably this guy. I'm wondering if I can get. I'm just trying to look at this and see if there's a way I might be able to. I'm trying to optimize the use of my. Oh, look at that! Perfect. So I'll effectively just quickly mark the points that I need to cut this at. And then, again, this one. That gives me some corner points. And I am freehand cutting this a bit, but there we go. Try and get this straight as I can. Oh, come on, don't flip on me. So there we go. So I will now double check that still looks adequate sized. I believe it does. Okay. And I may end up failing on some of these. You guys can giggle if I do. But this whole thing is this is only this third time I've done this, but it is a pretty simple process once you get it down. So. Well, thanks, Jackie. Yeah, I'm hoping so too. It's a lot of fun for me doing this kind of stuff, and I think a live stream might make it a little bit more interactive, and people can ask me questions. But also, I'm hoping some of the really guru level amp guys will start doing some of these too, and they can chime in the chat and tell people things that maybe I'm missing or not explaining, and help me out as well as we go. So I think that it hopefully will be helpful for other people, and it's definitely fun for me, and it helps me as well. Because I think the best way to show that you understand something is to try and explain it to someone else as well. So, and I like sharing on the internet and helping people get that kind of learning out of it. I'm going to quickly cut these two pieces out first, and then we'll go to the other ones that I need to do as well. So what I'm going to do here quickly is try and lower the volume a little bit so that I won't be clipping really badly and killing you guys. Okay, hopefully that wasn't deafening for people too badly. And I will be cutting more in a second, so I'm going to leave this on, but we just wanted to kind of compare. This looks like it fits. So now you can see I've cut that to size. Or hopefully you can see that I cut that to size. That will be the FET board. And I'm trying to decide if I did get it to the right size. Oh, you know what? No, I did not. So in my attempt to save some, I've cut it a little short. If we look either way, I'm a little short, so I'll have to recut another piece for that one. But we'll check this guy out, because I think this one did get done well. We can see width-wise, hopefully. Actually, I should probably hold it up here. Width-wise, we're holding on this guy pretty good. So I'll have to clean that edge a little bit up, sand it up, but that worked. So that one's good. We'll set that one aside, and now we will try and cut our other two, or other three I should say. So, it's hard to talk with that on, but I don't want to be breathing in that dust, it's bad for you. Alright. Where'd my pen go? Hit this. Okay, I'm going to lower the volume again for a minute because we're going to have a decent amount of noise, but I'll come back with the volume in a second. It fits. And the last one. I blew it away. Ta-da! All right. Okay, so I'm done doing the cutting, and I've got them all that fit. And Batnoff, I'm working on one of my own design. I have not finished it yet. I've gotten most of the schematic done, but I wanted to build a few more of this type of amp first to get more confidence in understanding the more complicated designs like this Dumble, because mine is going to be basically along the lines of a Vox AC30 top boost and a EF86 channel that are foot switchable, either A or B or both, and then also have an overdrive similar to the Dumble, so there'll be another whole drive section that will be foot switchable as well. So I've got the thing designed at this point, but I haven't completed it yet. So that will be a build that I plan on doing soon, I'm hoping. But I just want to kind of finish a couple of these builds that will help me feel a little bit more confident. So, drink a little water. Alright, I can get this out of the way. We're done with this for now. Slide it out of the way. Alright, so the next step I'm going to do is I'll be needing to, oops, wrong way, get my drill set up, the drill press. Now, a drill press isn't mandatory to do this, but it sure makes things easier. And it doesn't need to be this big of one either. You can have a fairly small one, because as you can see, we're only dealing with areas that are fairly small, and you're only going up and down a little. Let me get all these out of the way. So what you need to do at this point is you need to kind of tape them on or glue them on. I usually tape them on, but the one thing I've noticed on these that might be tricky is you want to tape them so that you don't overlap too much any of these holes so you can see where you're drilling for them. So I might put a piece of tape along here. I might put a piece of tape along here. I will need to drill all of these turret holes and the drill holes. I might need to widen the drill holes later, I don't know, but I'm just going to use the same size drill hole for these. So I've got some masking tape here somewhere. I think it's up here. Oh no, I think I grabbed it out. I'm trying to think of where I put it though. Oh, there it is. So, sometimes I've seen people say that they just like glued it down, but then they use a little bit of almost like a form of acetone or something to kind of strip the glue back off and get these off. That might be better as a more permanent gluing fixture, but for me this has worked. So we will see how well it works for me this time as well. But I have to, like I mentioned, I don't want to cover the actual areas that I'm going to be trying to cover or trying to drill through. So, but that will hopefully now be visible to everybody. I've got that set up and taped so I can now see the different holes I have to drill, and I will drill the different holes, and then when done I can take a peek at it and make sure it looks good by comparing it to the paper again later. But so what I'm going to do now probably is I'm going to try and adjust the camera really quickly and point it in a little closer at the actual drill press so that makes things a little easier to see what I'm doing there. Oops, sorry. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and start drilling these. I'm trying to see, oh, this one's going to kind of block you guys. Let me move this. I just need to have this well clamped so it doesn't want to move on me, but we'll try and move that back there. Alright, hopefully that's fairly visible. I know it's at a kind of a steep angle, but you'll be able to see that I'm coming to, going to be coming for each of these holes, so we're going to give this a go. And one of the things I'm going to explain now, the reason I've got wood down here is this kind of board is pretty good, has been good for me, but it can blow out underneath if you don't have it well supported. So I only need to have the wood there so I can go through all the way through on purpose. So my drill press will come down, hit the wood. Oh, I didn't tighten down, hold on. I do need to chuck the thing down. Alright, so I will basically come down, push it into the wood a little bit, and that means the surrounding wood will protect it from a blowout. So here we go. Wood is puckered up there a little, it's making it hard for me to try and kind of just break away a couple pieces of wood. out, because that way I have more to hold back here. Alright, so there. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to go like this. Now you can see I'm done there. I've got all the holes drilled. I did have a bit of a problem. It kind of wanted to tear up a little here because I didn't tape this side well. But let's go ahead and peel this off and see what it looks like. I'll be repeating this now in a second with the other ones, but I just wanted to show one of them quickly and talk through it. And as I peel that off, now I've got all the holes. And I'm going to need to remember, and I might even give myself a mark, this one right here and this one right here do not get eyelets because those are for the screw holes on the paper. If you recall on this paper, you can see it, those are my 2 screw holes. So I've just put a little circle around them so that I won't accidentally try and put some eyelets in those. So first we're going to finish drilling though on all of my boards before we get to the next step. So let me just check and see if I've had any questions. Alright, so, no, okay. So, let's see. So, next, we're going to do the big one. This one should be, I'm going to want to tape this one down even more. So we're going to do the, let me come here, this large board now. And that one, if you'll notice, I'm going the wrong way. If this one has some larger holes that I will want to use a different bit on, but the eyelets, and it even has some smaller ones, but the eyelet holes are, you know, here. I will go through and do the eyelet holes all first. I'm going to have to leave it taped on, then I have to switch bits to get these bigger ones and the smaller ones. The bigger ones are, I believe, where there's going to be some groups of wires coming through, I think, through those, and these smaller ones are just single wires, possibly, but I don't know. This is just the way the board has looked at. I'd have to look at the main to do that, but let me quickly tape this guy up and we'll do that one next. Luckily on this one, on one end, it's going to be fairly easy. Alright. Oh, that doesn't even look like that's going to be easy. Okay, we'll skip that for now. Alright, so I've got this guy taped up now. I've only been able to easily get a couple because this side has so many little of these holes on the side that I don't want to make invisible. Although I was kind of wondering, it looks like when I tape over them, they're still pretty visible. Maybe, yeah, actually they are. So I will tape over that anyway. If you look, hopefully you can see that, and I don't know where my focus zone is exactly, it's not right here. But if you can see, you can still see these holes through there a little bit, so I think that will work. So I'm going to go ahead and start drilling that one. I also just realized halfway through drilling this one, I didn't have my mask on, and I should put that on because drilling this also releases the same kind of fibers in the air. So I'm going to put this back on really quickly and start drilling. I might sound muffled if I'm talking now, but... So I'm getting some good progress, and it just dawned on me. This may not be the most exciting thing in the world to just watch me drilling things. So I think what I might do next here is stop on the drilling for a bit and finish a board, and then I can go back to that one in a minute if people are still interested in watching more. I don't know how exciting this is just watching me drill things, but so you guys can maybe give me a little feedback on that, what you think about it. But so effectively, I will take a switch over now, and we're going to try and do some of the actual staking on that first board I finished. So you guys see that. So it's easy to swap this setup and go back and forth. All I have to do is kind of remove the wooden protection piece here, set that aside, remove my drill bit here. Let me go zoom out a little wider now really quickly. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and stake this guy so that everybody can see it. I need to clean up a little. I don't know if a regular file will be great or not, but we'll see. I got some crummy old files here. This is where having myself a nice belt sander or orbital sander type thing, you know, the bench top type might be nice, but I may take a little time off of this to kind of clean those edges up. But so I can actually see the fibers coming off, which means I should probably be wearing my mask there. So I'll stop doing that. Basically, what I'm going to do now is remove this bit, and like I showed you before, I'll set this one aside because I'm going to need to use it again in a minute. I'm going to get this staking. If somebody knows the term for these, I cannot remember. They're a machinist's tool that is used to make, I think, marks and dents and for pressing things in harder metals and whatnot. But I don't remember. I think I've even looked it up and found it once. I know I can't remember what it's called. But so I get that. Then I get this guy, and I have a lock washer and a washer on the bottom. And then I have a washer on the top, and then the nut on the top. And it doesn't need to be super tight. It's just got to be tight enough that it won't want to move downward. Then we have to adjust my this forward a little bit. And then I find it where it looks like it's mostly centered. So that when I press down, it's tight. So there's that. That's the first step. The next step, like I said, is I get one of these eyelets and I just set it right on the top there. I take this and I drop it down over the eyelets, and then I have to usually bend a little bit to make sure it's going in, and then I seat it. Now that I've seated that, I'm realizing I may have done it upside down. I wasn't thinking very clearly before I did it, but this is what a finished one looks like, and it's nice. But I have to make sure that I did this the right way. So, let's look. Yeah, I did it upside down. So that one actually is going to have to come out. I did it, I was kind of boneheaded moved there. I don't know how easy these are to remove, but we're going to try and find out. I'm going to try and just kind of pinch it back open again. I did it upside down. So, effectively, you want to also think about that. So, I'll leave that one alone for a minute. I'll probably be able to fix that off screen later. But effectively, that's the nuts and bolts of it. We're going to put that in there. In fact, I will try and zoom in a little bit closer again so you can see the staking tool doing its job. All right. Okay, so now that I'm realizing which way it was supposed to go up. So this is the way I had it wrong before, so I'm going to flip it this way because I want it to come like this. So now if you can see, that's been flanged outward. This is the wrong side, but you can see that's what the top side looks like. And if we turn it over, Now the side that I want to have all the eyelets on is there. So I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of them quickly until I finish this board. I'm trying to think of a good way to remove the one that I kind of screwed up there, but if anybody thinks of something, let me know. So that's the one thing to remember, is it depends on how you set this up, but I've got the eyelets facing downward, so I want to have the top of the board facing downward as well. So and it just takes a little pressure until you feel it kind of collapse, and then you're ready to go to the next one. So this takes a little bit of time, but it's not nightmarishly hard, and it's kind of fun to have that sense of I did this myself. So and once they're in there, they don't feel like they're moving anywhere for a while, which is kind of nice. So this is where having some kind of a press. They also sell things called arbor presses. Should also work, but anything where you can apply a pretty significant downward pressure to just and then have the tip of that little piece down here that's at probably about a 60-degree angle. It gives you the ability to widen that metal inside of the hole so that it locks it in place. And I'm almost halfway. I'm done with this side, and you can see it goes pretty quickly. It only takes a few minutes. Oh, it looks like I've moved something here. There you go, that's that part done. Now I'll come down this side and I'll have to figure out how to remove that one and do that. But I'll also show in a link, oops, there went one to the floor. I'll show in a link below after the video is done and I've got it kind of uploaded. I'll put it maybe in the comments or whatnot, but where I sourced my turret board and my turret. Now, if you don't want to get to this level of detail and make your own turret boards, by the way, I highly recommend Hoffman amps. Doug Hoffman has a turret building kind of program on the page that's easy to use. He also has some pretty common turret boards that he's in his style layouts for amps if you want to build, say, a Baseman clone or a Princeton clone or any of those kind of clones that they have on their site. He has them already pre-made anyway. You just go in and order them, but you can also design your own turret board and he will build them for you really inexpensively, and so you don't have to go through this. I don't know, I kind of want it to be 100% custom when I'm doing these myself, but I've used his quite a bit in some of my earlier builds, so if you go back and watch some of my older videos, you'll see his turret boards. And I am also kind of hybridizing a little bit. A lot of the time I've seen more of the eyelet boards, it's in a Fender style, where they have a backer board and they kind of screw it straight to the chassis. I like to use spacers and lift them up off the board a little bit so there's a little bit more room underneath, and then that allows the amp to have, I don't know, just like a little bit more room underneath. You don't have to worry about potentially accidentally, I don't know, like anything getting conducted between the board and the thing because you're separated and stood off with those standoffs. But you know, that's just me. I think that's a preference thing. I don't think that's a mandatory thing of any kind. I'll check back here in a second, see if you guys have any comments, but please do comment if you have any questions about this. Let me know if there's something that I seem to be missing, or if there's something that I could be doing better. I also would love to hear that. But all right. So I did leave spots now for the 2 screws, and I might need to make those a little bit bigger later. That's fine. I do need to fix that one, but there you have it. So if you look comparatively to this guy, that was the one we just built, and it did not take me very long at all. So I'm going to see if I can figure out an easy way to get this guy out. Kind of unflanging it a little bit here, if at all possible. But it's not going to be super easy to get out. And that's a good sign, honestly. That means that, you know, these aren't going to come out even if I'm trying to get them out. That means that they also shouldn't, over time, come out. That's why eyelets have been used for so long. I might just have to put the drill bit back in and drill that one out. And that's what I need to do anyway now, because I've shown you guys from beginning to end how that little eyelet board was made. Put my thumb over the one that I did backwards. So that's one thing to remember, is always put your eyelets in the side. So if you know this is your top side, make sure that you put the eyelet in the right side as well. But I'll fix that one here in a second. I'll continue drilling this one as well. So let me look and see if anybody has any questions, though. Nope, no questions in the live chat. All right, cool. Let's see. Trying to think of anything else. All right, so next I'm going to go back to drilling this guy, just so we can get the rest of them going. I will also ask what you guys think. If having this live video, please tell me if this is interesting enough to keep going, or if it's a little bit too much rambling, and maybe I'd have different types of topics that would be better for a live video. I'm thinking also of doing live videos where I discuss things like pre-and tube design. I've read some books by Merlin Blencoe, and he's got really cool deep detail in those, and I highly recommend them. It's called The Valve Wizard. You can search for The Valve Wizard online and get his website and order his books. He's got one that's about tube guitar preamp design and hi-fi design, and they're both really outstanding reads. I've read them, some of the parts, a couple times, and they're still so deep in material that I'm a bit still, grasping to make sure I understand them, and that's why I kind of gone back and reread them. But I think also some of it is I'm more of a visual learner than a reading learner, so I either have to do or read. So I might do those in a live stream so that people can get a sense of that as well and tell me what they think. So let me make sure that's okay. So we will clip this guy back down, and that wasn't. That's these guys. And I will continue drilling. All right. that one is now done. Oh. Yeah, Dan, I think that might have been not a bad idea, but I also seem to have lost video. I'm not sure why. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Yeah, I think that's what might have gone, is the batteries. We'll see. Let me quickly give you guys content to see. Let me turn this. All right, so at least you guys can see something now. Sorry about that. Give me just a second to see why my camera seems to have shut off. I think it is going to be batteries, though. We'll see here in a minute. The audio should still be streaming. Oh, my audio shut down too. Hopefully the audio is going to be better, because I think I was using a different audio. This is something that I might have to look into. Can you guys still hear me? Everything okay? Yeah, battery. Sorry. Changing the battery now. Alright, let's get this guy. Alright. And we're back. Sorry about that. Can everybody hear me now? Sorry about that. The battery died. Let me see if I seem to be getting video back now. Yeah, we do. There we go. Sorry. So I have it connected. This is technical difficulties. I have it connected via what's supposed to be giving it constant power. And I don't know why it stopped giving it constant power, but we have full battery now, and that's something I'll have to troubleshoot off the side. I did like that suggestion, by the way, Dan, of pre-drilling a lot more. This is definitely probably not as exciting watching me drill all this stuff. So I think if anybody has any questions, I can kind of cover those. I think really getting that to show off the way it did is probably the gist of what I wanted to show today anyway. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. That's really the whole concept is pretty straightforward. Get yourself a template that you need. You can create them if you need to, or find them online for the board you're trying to build. Print them out to the size you need, put them on a piece of this fiber board, and then drill all your holes. Once the holes are done, you put that staking tool in, and then you're able to stake it. So I think I might sit here for a couple more minutes and see if anybody else has any other questions. I think that probably covers a lot of what I wanted to cover. Your next steps usually are going to be to go ahead and get any kind of components and get them. Obviously, you get these components now and you plop them in and you're good to go. The other thing I mentioned, I'm not going to be using the power supply design from the actual Dumble because I bought a separate capacitor. That's one single one that will cover what those two did. Capacitor is getting so small these days that it's kind of crazy. But I will be slightly redesigning it just to fit what I need. But everything else, I'm fitting it exactly as the design called for. So I'm going to be switching bits and doing some more on this. I'll probably leave it running a little longer if people are still interested. Let me know. If not, I'll go ahead and shut the live stream off, and we'll kind of put this up as a video for people to watch later. So I do appreciate it, guys. If you are enjoying this content, please do let me know in the comments. Let me know by subscribing, thumbs up, and I'll continue to keep out these live streams coming. I don't know, I might be able to get a live stream a weekend. I still try to always do a video a week. That's just a standard video as well. I did film myself, if you can kind of see in the background, I've got this Basement 100, I just got to kind of cover to keep dust out of it. But I did film myself working on this guy, and I'll be editing that and uploading it. And then that was before I'm going to be gutting it and building it into this Dumble that I'm kind of prepping for right now. So if you have any anything else that you'd like me to do in these also in the future, please do let me know. Well, I'm trying to think. I haven't got any comments per se of what people might be interested in. The live, maybe people left after my screen went black. Well, no, it says I've still got a few people on. So, anybody else have any, or does somebody else want me to actually do anything more? Should I try and do some more actual staking and whatnot? If so, I can't do it on this one yet, so I might just quickly drill another one of these small ones, because it's easy to quickly drill it, and then we'll be able to show that off. I guess I can keep doing this. I don't know how many people are interested, but since I still have people watching, apparently there's some interest in it, so I can keep streaming. Your silence is deafening. I have realized this tape, even if it covers the holes, I can still see the holes. So I'm going to keep just putting the tape across the edge to give it a little bit better coverage. And that way, hopefully the paper won't rip up as easily. All right. Got those. Let's see. I don't know. It's going to be out of focus probably, but there we go. So that one's done. We'll quickly now. I'm going to go ahead and switch. Actually, I'm going to try and quickly drill. I guess this. I'm hoping that this is still interesting to people. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me in the shop on your Saturday. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying it. It's interesting and educational and insightful and all that jazz. So. Silly. All right, let's get this one really quickly. I think I've got that one done as well, so we'll be able to now stake a couple. Alright. Alright, let's see. So, again, let me quickly first get the thing back over again. So some of you that might be joining in a little bit later and missed the beginning, I just got done drilling some more boards now I'm going to quickly set up the staking operation and stake some turrets. So I'll just repeat it again for those that weren't here before. I effectively have a little staking nut and bolt right here. This will go through the bottom of the drill press. I just put together a very large bolt with a locking washer, and then a washer, another washer, and then the nut. Just enough so I can kind of apply a little bit of hand tightness. And then I have a little staking tool that came out of one of these kinds of sets right here. And I just put this guy up in here. Kind of try and line that up as best you can. And then lock it so it doesn't want to move on you while you're doing things. And then I get an eyelet, set it there, and now, since I kind of messed that first one up, I will be careful this time and figure out what my top is. So this guy, my top is up here, so I can peel off. Now, one of the things I was a little worried about on this guy I saw kind of happening was it was looking like I had blown through the edge a little bit in a couple of the cuts that I did. We will see how well that worked out, but this tape is not going to come off. Here we go. So this is my top, and I also want to mark these guys as my screw down pieces that I don't want to do it. So to get that to be my top, I need to invert it and go like this. And then I sit that in and squeeze down, and done. So I will also be getting and sanding a little of these edges and cleaning them up. And you can also see I would like to get a better tool for cutting these, because I'm looking at this now and it's also not perfectly squared. It's a little bit offsided, but it will work. It just and here's the one that it did blow out a little bit, but we're going to try and see if crimping one in still does the duty. So it does. That's just a little ugly, but I drilled a little bit. I blew out, and I kind of blew out that one as well. I may decide to redo these since it's a small little piece and it won't matter a whole heck of a lot if I waste a little bit more. But that's pretty much all there is to it. There's a few more. I'll just continue staking these eyelets in here. If anybody has, as I've said before, any questions, please put them in the live chat. I'd be more than happy to keep checking on that, see if anybody asks anything. And I will try and come up with more content to put in these in the future if people like them. We shall see. Making progress, coming along pretty quickly. I'll check if anybody's asking anything. All right, and I'm already at about an hour, so I might start cutting this pretty quickly, unless I get anybody commenting in. I don't see any comments coming in now, so I'm guessing that the attendance may be pretty slim. So I will go ahead and call this guy, I think, quits. So please do, if you're still around and listening, please do subscribe to the channel. Let me know what I could do different in these live streams if there's a little too much content here. Or I think one of the suggestions I heard that I liked was that I should probably have pre-drilled most of these ahead of time and only drilled one to show you how that went. And then I could stake the eyelets for the other ones, and people can kind of see less of me rambling on and whatnot. So I will try and make sure I think of doing that in the future. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate the attendance. I appreciate the input and the feedback, and I will talk to you guys soon online and in chat and whatnot. So thanks, everybody. Have a good one.